Bring in David Soucie, former aviation safety inspector. David, we now have two very disturbing videos, one from the ring camera, the other from, it looks like a vehicle on a major thoroughfare, in which we see the aircraft plummeting from, from this vantage point this is the latest video. It seems coming in at an angle from the ring camera. It looks much more of just a kind of plummeting straight down. What stands out to you, David? What questions do you have at this point?
Well, at this point, I'd be looking at weight and balance issues. I've worked on this airplane from the time it first came out. I was an aircraft mechanic and worked on this Longhorn, the Lear 55, I believe it was. But they are really prone to stalling, and their weight and balance is extremely critical. Even the way that you fuel it, have you fuel the wings first, or if you fuel the tail first. If you fuel the tail first, it'll actually literally take the nose wheel off the ground. So it's critically important that weight and balance. Of course, it's too early to know what the cause is, but to see that it's going straight down like that, it looks like a stall. There was no airspeed. It appears to be rotating a little bit as well, too, so as Mary pointed out. So I think that it looks to me like there was some kind of failure that caused the stall of the aircraft. It wasn't. It's going straight in. Just horrific to watch that, isn't it?
You said prone to stalling. Why would something be prone to stalling?
Well, because of the critical weight and balance. So it's a swept wing aircraft. It comes back. It has winglets that go straight up on the sides. So what happens is that as the fuel is burned off of that airplane, it changes the direction. It changes the center of gravity of the airplane. So it's important that you fuel it properly, that you have the right fuel in the wings, that you don't do the tail first or burn off everything in the wings before the tail. So if it's loaded up in the tail, it would cause the weight and balance to make the aircraft go like this. So that's what you want to make sure is that it's fueled, that the three different fuel cells are balanced properly. And so if you're running EMS, and it looks like they've been doing this a long time, but what's suspicious to me is the fact that if these engines quit, let's say on a Lear, it would normally just be able to land and glide and land. It may have still been an accident, but not like this. The way that it's going down straight means that lost airspeed at some point. There wasn't any lift going over the top of the wing, so it's going straight down and spinning. So that indicates to me that it was some kind of a stall. And when I talk about weight and balance, it's not prone to that. What it's prone to is improperly loading the fuel into the aircraft can change that weight and balance to a point that's not recoverable.
And obviously, this is a plane which is made a lot of stops. It's got a lot of missions going on. How closely, who's in charge of the fueling process? How closely would the pilots monitor that? Who's checking that?
Typically, the co-pilot does a walk around on every flight. The loading crew also comes up, but there's a lot going on a medical flight. I don't know if the passenger was on board or not. Usually it is. Because they said there was 6 people on takeoff, so I would think that that's the medical crew and the 2 pilots flying the aircraft. You can fly this aircraft with 1 pilot, but it has to be modified to do so. But in this case, when they're flying passengers, medical passengers, there's typically 2. So the co-pilot does the walk around and make sure that happens. They supervise the fueling. They check the fueling at the end of it as part of their checklist to make sure that the volumes in the tanks are proper. So, it's way too speculative of me to actually say that that's what caused this. But I just know from my experience of working on this airplane and the various things that we watch for in that airplane, very specifically to that model, those are some of the cautions that we caution pilots about when they fly these aircraft and during training for a Learjet. We caution them about that. But I can't think of anything else really that would cause the airplane to go in that direction. Because engines out, even if both engines were out, it's not typical of how this airplane would come down. It has a very good glide.
Maintain control of your personal belongings.